Now, in spite of widespread public discontent about the 18 years university admission benchmark, mooted by Minister of Education Professor Tahir Mamman over a month ago, the federal government this past week came out with a more forceful statement of intent about implementing the policy. Again, Nigerians from all walks of life are expressing outrage. A growing number of them are saying that the government should not be tone deaf about something that can deprive millions of young Nigerians the opportunity of realizing their enormous potential. Senior lecturer at University of Calabar, Dr. Dornclaimz Enamhe, joins us now. Many thanks for being here, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you on Newsday.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now from our understanding, this policy aims to align Nigeria with global standards. But how does it account for the unique challenges in our educational system, especially when you factor in the frequent strikes and the infrastructural deficits?
Now you're with me. It's unfair. This is a country that has no policy for our children. It's a country that has not been able to bridge the gap between the out-of-school children and those in school. It's a country that is in dire need to meet the world in educational achievements. And then you want to cut these kids off. This is when they are creative. This is when their brains are hot. I'm a teacher. So I understand the difference between an adult student and a child student. A child student, even if he misses a lecture, the next lecture he comes in, he's up to speed. If you see the way he writes, and these Jay-Zs, you know how they are, they have a lot of energy. And if you allow them into the streets, they will do drugs, they'll be influenced for the ladies. And this is what we are saying, no. Minister, you have so much on your plate. See the ASU issue. Sort it out. Give this country an educational system. You are a teacher, you are a lawyer, you've had the background. So, perfect minister. You left as a vice chancellor. So you have all that he needs. And then in base, where he was, that's where the youngest children are, and they were doing well. That's where he came from. And the results are really good. So I'm just appealing that we need to go back on that policy and allow these kids express themselves. These are the kids that we are seeing doing sports. The same children that are making us proud in entertainment. So when it comes to one thing, they are too young. Another one, let them be. I am against it. I am a teacher, and I know these children are on top of their game academically. What is influence? The university, it has a curriculum. Your lectures are for 9, you're 9. For 7, you're 7. You have a break, you go to eat, your parents give you your money, you know how to... Okay, so the children were head girls and head boys. They were managing secondary schools before they came to university. Now you say they're not matured. So the children are the first children of families. Parents tell them, I'm going to work, take care of your brothers and sisters. Look, I don't want anything. And they are doing very well. I just want to say, this is not a policy for the moment.
And I'm glad you said that, because I know a lot of people are saying when this policy emerged, rather this proposed policy emerged, a lot of people said there's so many other things that we need to fix. Why are we focusing on this? So please tell me, what are some of those things that you think the minister should rather put on his agenda as opposed to trying to bring in, or rather trying to exclude more young people from this education system? How can we become more inclusive with regards to our education system?
Universities are at this point still making demands. The ASU federal government relationship has not been sorted out. If you allow the universities and their teachers to speak with you and you implement, all these things will fall in line. Our educational system should be properly funded. We're not funded. A teacher should have his due. When he has his due, because his wife or himself goes to the same market with the other sectors of the economy. And so the salary of a teacher has not improved in the last 10 years. So how do you expect him to live in that standard? Now, you're cutting off the children because those ones are vulnerable. You can intimidate them. It is unfair. It is unreasonable. And for a man who was a teacher in the law school, a director in the law school, a VC of base, and now a minister with all the experiences, he should be the last person, the very last person, to come through with those reforms. I see, and I feel that this is not the time. So you're going to cut them off from their siblings or their friends who are in Ghana. You're going to cut them from those who school in the UK. You're going to cut them from those because these policies will not be implemented in private universities, where he came from. You will not. And so you're not going to bring another, sectionalism amongst these children. I think that he has a lot of work to do. And the work he has is to give Nigerians back an educational system. Even the political class. He should teach them how to make reforms in education. He should address National Assembly and speak to education. And so that we have a direction in this country. Right now, he should let the children be. Let their brains work.
All right, Doctor, can you touch on the potential impact that you might foresee when it comes to university enrollment numbers, especially in the short term, in terms of how this might affect the financial stability of some institutions?
Yeah, the NUC has a criteria for every department. And so when you go for JAM and you go through JAM, you still go for the university's examination. And so because there is the limit you must be given for you to allow a child or students in a particular course. So they are properly organized. And if you now, as a child, want to study medicine, law, nursing, you should be up. You up your game. Parents will now give you cause to work hard. You now know where you're going to. If you take that kind of bright child who got 300 plus in JAM, hit his A's in Neko Waik, and tell him to stay at home. Just imagine the waste. And then you're going to allow some parents who can afford it. When I say, enroll here, do this course, do that course, you lose the child. Because it's a period for a child to express himself. The university system allows a child grow through so many sectors. There are periods for sports. There's periods for interaction. There's for unionism. There's time for you to also meet counsel. There are counselors in universities. Every child has a staff advisor. So you can't miss it. Age is not an issue here. And the staff advisor will tell you, why did you come for lectures yesterday? You don't look good today. What's the problem? And so there is like a mentor-mentee, parent-teacher relationship, and it's working. It's working. And I think that Nigerians need to look at this properly. We need to get back to where a child who is brilliant, making us proud, should be in school and allowed to go through. I don't want to use a personal example, but we have a lot of them. I didn't want to come here today talking about people because I can give you 10 people in the Federal Executive Council who did 16 in university, who got 20 in NYC, and who are doing well. I can call about 10 because I did research last night, about 10 who did 16, 17 in university, did 20, 21 NYC, who are in the Senate. And they are doing us proud. So why would you cut these children off? My point.
And while we're talking about this age, because you're somebody who interacts with young people daily in the university. What is the window that you feel that this is the best, most productive in terms of intellectual and education advancement for young people? Because, like you said, when a young student comes, it's quite different to when an adult is studying. Meaning, the younger the better. So, for you, what do you think is the ideal window that people should, wrap up high school and wrap up secondary school, and start getting into tertiary education?
I don't have a problem with 18. I don't have a problem with 17. But do not say that if you don't turn 18, do not get into college. Some families have said, I need my child to be more matured. That's personal. Some children to tell you, Daddy, I can't go now. I don't want to go now. That's personal. But at 16, if you have it and you can afford it, and you are there, I can tell you straight, those kids are the smartest in class. The narrative they will take when you're asking them questions is completely different. They might look unserious. They may wear hairdo, you may not understand. They will put their lashes, but they come straight. They got brains. They are hot. And they teach you too. For those of us who have interactive classes, they teach you. Because they are 24/7 on their own. They understand the world. And these kids now, they are well-traveled. They're exposed. This thing, they use it positively. What a child at 16 can do with this piece of metal, I can't do. So, Daddy, Google. Daddy. Let me give you the answer.
It's not even AI.
Yes, they're there. AI so I would say that a child at 16 in college is a wonderful investment for Nigeria. Allow the children take their shine. It's their moment. Let's not do it to them. NYC has said that at 30, you can't be a copper. So when would the child come? My friend showed me a young man, I come from Ogoja, in church, who scored 325 last jam. Somehow, the network couldn't allow them to see the result. This year, he scored 202. Can you beat it? So imagine, and I was 16, so now he's 17. So he can't go again? No, now. That child will start having depression. You see what I'm talking about here now? So we need to understand the beauty of these children at the moment and their brains. And you need to watch them talk. Like I said, a child who was a head girl in the college comes into university for medicine and surgery. She's on fire. A child who was a head boy in a college comes to university for law. He's on fire. You want to kill that fire for 2 years? So you go to work. The neighbors begin to influence the child with vices because he has to work out. Then there are boys who didn't go to school. And they begin to bring in those negative influence on the children, both male and female. And we begin to lose another generation. We don't need it now. These children are very smart. And they know bad from good. Right. While in school, they know bad from good. So you can't say because they are too young, they're not matured. They are matured.
Well, Doctor, you've said this a couple of times. We don't need it now.
Yes.
I want to draw emphasis on now. Is this a policy that would work at a different time? Is it wrong timing, or the policy is just fundamentally flawed?
Flawed. I'm sorry. I missed it there.
Okay.
We don't need it forever. Right. At 30, you can't do NYC after 30 by their policy. The child delays. The first jam, he made it. Second one, he couldn't make it. Third one, he couldn't make it. So he comes to school. Before you know, he cannot. Employment, you're saying 40, 45. So many things are wrong. What have Nigerian youths done to them? Why are they always on Nigerian youths? Why would the Nigerian youth suffer so much? And now you're asking the bright Nigerian youth not to go to school. What is the problem with being a youth? Is it a crime to be young and brilliant? Is it a crime to be energetic, smart, and adventurous? Is it a crime to know what to do, how to do it, and to be academically sound? If you teach in university and you don't see young people, you'll be happy. It's not graduate school. It's not graduate school. When you see young people, you know you're teaching people. When you're in a graduate school class, it's different. So I think, and I said it now again, this policy does not deserve to move to public space. Whoever brought it should rethink it and withdraw it. Thank God the president listens. He has done a lot of those things. He's a listening president. So I call him on Mr. President. Mr. President, please. You went to Chicago very young. Your ESCO members are quite young. This is one thing we want young people to have, a chance to express themselves in academics. They are extremely excited that they are allowed to come to college, and they compete with each other. If you cut them off, 2 years for a child that finished at 16, 3 years for the one that finished at 15, because while people are really young, that would be damn dangerous for them, please.
Dr. Enamhe, that was a very powerful charge, and I hope the powers that be are listening and paying attention that this particular policy should be perished. Thank you so much for your time today.